Salutations everyone, this is Razor bringing you some domination on the raid using the DSR50 post-patch here with a little bit of laser sight. Got my sensitivity amped up here once again, trying to do a little quickscope and post-patch here with the DSR. It's very, very noticeable if you haven't checked it out since the patch. We remember all hearing about that huge backlash of all the death threats to Vandahar over Twitter and stuff. Just silly, silly things. And from an outsider's perspective, someone who doesn't really know Call of Duty that well, if they hear this, they're like, oh, it's just, a millisecond difference between reload speeds. What's the big deal? It can't be that much of a difference. But to, a seasoned Call of Duty player, we know that, increasing the, should say decreasing the fire rate by pretty much half is going to affect the game a lot, even if it is just with one gun. And if it's with one gun that you're very familiar with, a gun that you're used to, if you decrease the fire rate that significantly, it's going to be noticeable, especially since the DSR50 is obviously the most popular sniper in the game and one of the most widely used guns in the game overall as well. You should have expected that kind of backlash, especially since the quickscoper community, the sniper people, your typical snipers are so very vocal and so very angry when things don't go their way, because auto aiming, just playing the game for them, just isn't enough with these people. They want everything that they can get on their hands on to make the game easier for them. But you could say the same for anyone else, really. If they nerf an SMG, all the try hard newbie pants kids were crying and shit when like the MSC got nerfed and the PDW got a small insignificant nerf. When they didn't actually nerf these guns, they didn't actually change the way that these guns worked, the way that they handled the damage, the reload, the run speed, or any of that stuff. They didn't really change some of the stronger guns in this game. When they say that they did, it goes back to what I've been saying. People who make and develop Call of Duty obviously don't play it, or they would know what changes they should be making, as opposed to just hearing stuff from the community, be like, oh, we should change this, but they don't really do it. Like back with the FAMAS in Black Ops 1, remember when that got nerfed? Yeah, me neither. They said that they nerfed the damage of that thing, but it absolutely made no difference whatsoever. They could have told us nothing. They could have told us that they did nothing, and we wouldn't have noticed, because that gun didn't change whatsoever with the fire rate or the handling speed or the damage or damage over range or any of that stuff. Nothing about that gun changed, and that's a continuing trend with Call of Duty. They when they say that they nerf things, they either nerf it a lot, and it's a gun that's not really that good, like say the DSR50. It's a strong weapon. It's the best sniper rifle, but when you compare it to like the SMGs or the assault rifles, it can't really keep up with your typical player. It's not something that's going to have your global average KD as high as the MSMC or the Peacekeeper or the Type 25 or the MAA1. That's just the way that the gun works. So it seems like they only nerf guns that don't need to be nerfed, or they nerf guns that should be nerfed, but then they don't actually nerf them. So I don't know. It's one of the more annoying parts about being a COD player, is just the development team and the quote-unquote changes that they make to the game that they think are best for everyone, when they just really aren't. It's either telling you a barrel full of lies, or it's just hurting a gun that didn't need to be changed whatsoever, which doesn't happen too often, granted, when they nerf a gun that doesn't need to be nerfed, but it does happen here. Like their changes here with the DSR just didn't make any sense. It didn't make any sense. Why did they feel that they needed to decrease the fire rate of the DSR and the ballista. It honestly didn't make sense. If they thought that the whole quickscoping thing was too strong, well, they could have changed that, right? They could have changed that if they thought it killed, too easily. Then they could have changed the hit multipliers with the DSR50 or the ballista or whatever. But did they really think that the problem was with the fire rate of these guns? That's ridiculous. If you think okay, if you say that the DSR50 and or the ballista is unbalanced, which the ballista sucks, so. The only thing it has going for it is a slightly faster ADS and the fact that you can put iron sights on it. But let's say with the DSR50, if you say this gun is too strong, which is, it's a fair enough thing. I feel like sometimes this gun gets one hit kills that it shouldn't be getting, especially when you compare it with like the other snipers, either in Black Ops 2 or in other CODs. It feels like its one-shot kill capability is higher than any other sniper in the COD series. That's the way I feel. And if that's the way that some of the developers thought, that's fine. Then change that. Don't change the fire rate. That's not going to really, affect the gun the way that you want it to. I mean, I don't think anyone thought the problem with the DSR50 was, it fires too fast. It's like that's ridiculous. Why was that the part that they need to change? I'm not saying that the DSR50 could have gone without a nerf or something. But why nerf the fire rate? That just didn't make any sense to me. If you want to nerf the damage or the multipliers, that's fine. Or, the ADS speed, that's understandable. But why the fire rate? That just adds, no matter how you feel about the gun or sniping in general, you got to admit that part doesn't make any sense. If they felt the gun was worthy of a nerf, why the fire rate? This thing isn't the Peacekeeper. It's not the Scorpion. It's not something that's takes advantage of a fast fire rate where that's an important part of the gun. But when you take that faster fire rate away, it's very noticeable. Not as noticeable with the DSR50 or with the ballista because that got a smaller version of the nerf. But I don't really like it. It's very, very noticeable, and especially when you're used to the rhythm of this gun and the way that it fires. It feels like it's so slow, even though it's not, like a light machine gun slow. It's just, it feels incredibly slow when you're used to it being the way that it is. And I don't think that there was any wrong with the fire rate that it had before. And you've seen a lot of people move to the ballista because you can't get a 4-man on screen with the DSR50 without getting a collateral because it just won't rechamber the next round that quickly. It's understandable why people would move over to the ballista, but I just can't do anything with the ballista because it just gets too many hit markers. It's just not a gun that I find much success with. And the DSR50 was always a fun gun to use, and now it's just even less so. But, at least it's the tail end of Black Ops 2. At least you would think so with all the ghost information coming out. But we still got 3 months left with this game, which is kind of crazy when you think about it. There's still a quarter of a year left on Black Ops 2's life cycle. But at the same time, no one cares about it anymore because we have information on COD Ghost, and that's all YouTube's going to be for the next 3 months. And once it comes out, of course, it'll be even more so the only thing that we see, as well as like other stuff. Like I'm sure you'll see plenty of PS4 versus Xbox One videos, which won't make any sense because why bother? But anyways, final score here is 32-8 here with the DSR50, high sensitivity, post-patched, 6 caps to defense. Hope you guys enjoyed, and I will see you next time.